Hey, what's up? Let's do a little recap of where we've been and a little touch on where we're going. So first, we talked about, and we had an assignment for stage fright, public speaking. I just want to remind you, if you went through it and you didn't get knocked up a couple notches on where you feel more comfortable, most of the population is scared of public speaking. It's the number one fear. It's higher than death, right? It's also higher than spiders. And so it's like, oh, we're all listening together. This should make us feel a little bit, better. But going forward, because in a couple of days there's a speech due, a video they do, and then another one. And so going forward, it's like, all right, think of it in the fact that, well, everybody has this apprehension, everybody has anxiety, and they're a little scared. But sometimes you actually seek this out, right? It's the same energy, physiology, what happens to your body is the same thing when you go in on a roller coaster. But that's why you're going on the roller coaster. So try and frame it as, hey, I'm going on a roller coaster. And so what's going to happen is you're going to use that energy in a way to deliver a better speech. All right. One thing that you can sort of consider is the phrase, fake it till you make it. And so happens, and it's true. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we say, I'm going to do this, I'm doing a 2-3 minute, speech. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to be confident. I'm going to go out there and do it. What's going to happen is you're going to go out there and you're going to be confident and you're going to do it. And so you're still nervous, right? But you're going to fake it till you make it. And then all of a sudden you did, right? So just think of how to use that roller coaster energy and just redirect it and use it in another way. Another thing I wanted to touch on is speech structure. When you're writing your script, right, your speech, I don't want anybody to ever read from a script because that's boring, right? But when you're writing your speech, make sure you sit down and do the structure. And so when I talk to people and I show them like, hey, here's a structure. Here's the introduction. You need a hook and an opening. You need your super clear thesis statement, right? What you're going to talk about. You need an overview of the 3 points you're going to talk about. And then boom, you transition into point 1, transition to point 2, point 3, and then your conclusion, you kind of recap it, right? And you do it with a pithy clincher. It's sort of punchy that leaves the audience with, remember, what you said, right? If you have that structure, you can write a speech on anything that you know about pretty rapidly. So really what you want to do is get that structure, because the delivery is really what's important. People leave a speech, whether it's an auditorium with a big TED behind you, or it's a meeting that you're in front of 8 people. What happens is they leave and they don't quite remember all the facts. We just don't. It's not how we operate, but we do remember how we felt. And so if you can deliver well, they're going to leave thinking, well, that was helpful. That was credible. That's something I should look into, right? They're going to remember how they felt. So really put that effort into delivery, because people are going to be impacted more by that. All right, let's see the next note. All right. Why is public speaking important? All right, you take someone like Warren Buffett, who's worth bazillion dollars, right? He attributes about half of his wealth, which is unquantifiable, but he says about half of his wealth is attributed to the fact of his public speaking skills, which he had to be trained on because he knew that he was weak at it. And he says that this is what opened the doors for me. This is what allowed people to invest and have confidence in it, is his public speaking skills. So let me ask you, who is the founder of Apple? Most people readily say Steve Jobs. Who is the founder of Microsoft? Most people readily say Bill Gates. Who's the co-founder of those two? Most people have no idea, right? It's Wozniak and Paul Allen. And so most people don't really know who those are. And so those two, they were not savvy speakers, right? Paul Allen, I think later in life, improved on that. But they weren't savvy speakers. They weren't in front of the camera. And it wasn't just by choice, say, oh, this is my job, I'm going to go behind the camera. It was also because they weren't as impactful and effective at that. And so we remember the founder, and not the other two co-founders. And that shows how important public speaking is. It illustrates a legacy of a company, and we don't even know those two co-founders. All right, now let's talk about touching on where we're going. Leadership. Leadership skills are important. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of things that you can apply to real life. But unfortunately, there's something that I've noticed that happens is oftentimes people consider themselves not the leader, like I'm not the leader, so I can learn this and I'll have this knowledge, but I'm not the leader, right? So there's two kinds of leaders, right? There's emergent and designated, right? Somebody who is assigned a leadership position. You are now the director of marketing, and you're in a leadership role. But there's emergent leaders, and this is really powerful. And those are more powerful because their authority is a little more credible. You can be an emergent leader on a team project because you have a depth of knowledge and experience in something, and you become the emergent leader. Or you could be that you are the one who's really motivating the group to keep going, and you're maybe disarming, and you're intelligent and charming, and you're getting everybody to go along and to do the best they can. And so what happens is when the conversation starts, people looking around the table, when the emergent leader starts rising up, the heads turn to that person, right? And so the point I'm trying to make is, don't think leadership is for someone else. It's there, and it's there for the taking for those who understand how they can, wield that knowledge that they have. So as we move forward, please reach out to me if you have any questions, or Mahek or Brittany, and we would be happy to help.